September 4th, 1989, the Columbia Tribune releases an article, Co-workers, Friends Helpful During the Time of Grief. Miss Norma Roland, Andre's mother, speaks. It's hard to be strong when you know your kids and mom are hurting, she says. Seeing the pain of her family, especially Andre's 3 brothers, 3 sisters, and his grandmother who lives with them. She adds, when something happens to one child in a family, it happens to all of them. The children have all dealt with their grief in different ways, she says. She was most worried about Christian, 11 years old, who was the last person to see Andre alive and suffered feelings of guilt. Christian went through some counseling with the family's minister, Reverend Harold Butler, of Progressive Missionary Baptist Church. Reverend Butler says he asked Christian to remember the good things he and his brother shared. Roland has not sought counseling quite yet in dealing with her grief. After her son's death, she received letters inviting her to join support groups, but she did not. She says that period was a very busy time for her, but she would still consider joining a support group. Roland is an auto operations specialist at State Farm Insurance, and she says her co-workers have been helpful and supportive during her time of grief. The people I work with are like family, and we feel for each other, she says, adding that although people have been more than nice, the peace I need inside can only come from the Lord. There are times when Roland's grief hits her especially hard. Andre took special pride in caring for his family's yard. This year, when I was trying to plant the flowers, I was thinking about Andre, says his mother. And when the flowers he planted last year started coming up, the yard was just so beautiful. Andre was involved in his church and had told his mother and Reverend Butler that he someday hoped to become a minister. So Sunday mornings have been difficult for Roland too. Her son sang in the choir and was in the usher's auxiliary. And when the choir sings, Roland says she cannot help but to look right over to that spot where Andre used to stand. She also finds herself looking off to the side on which he used to usher. Andre enjoyed as well as excellent in sports. He played basketball, football, and ran track. His mother never missed a football practice or a game. This year, Andre's youngest brother, Christian, played in the Show Me games. When I saw the basketball team that Andre would have been playing on come in, I got very emotional, says Roland. Just to see the guys he would have been playing with really grabs you. Some days you can make it through really good, she says, and some days you have to really try hard to deal with your feelings and rationalize everything. Since the way authorities had handled the case and she had not been satisfied, she has sought answers to her questions herself. She has refused to accept the Sheriff Department's ruling of the death as a suicide, and she had attempted to gain a grand jury investigation into the case. But she still states her disappointment in the thoroughness of the FBI's month-long investigation. Roland says she believes the entire community has undergone some changes as a result of Andre's death. She thinks people have been paying closer attention to the actions of the Sheriff Department. In her neighborhood, she says the streets were usually filled with kids. Now, though parents stay more in their yards with their children and youngsters are more amped to play in groups, the atmosphere is also different at the family's church. The young people there realize now that you can die at any age, she says. As for Norma Roland's life, she does not deny that it has been affected, but she has tried to go on as normal as possible. Although she has her moments of vulnerability, it is a determined woman who says, things happen to everybody, and sometimes they're very drastic. My responsibilities have not ceased as a parent, and breadwinner for this family. I need a stable mind, and I must stay away from self-pity.